Dr. Pechenik, and I want to talk to you about the history of voter fraud in the United States, or what we call ballot harvesting. Recently, Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, the Democratic representative, the Sunni Muslim from Somalia, whose father was a corrupt colonel in the Somalian army, decided she would continue the family tradition of being corrupt. She used her funds for elections illegally. She used funds for her divorce, and then she's ordered Mohammed and a group of others in the Democratic Party of Minneapolis to harvest ballots, meaning that they go to poor people, they go to the nursing homes, they go to the homeless, and they sign in all kinds of ballots that no one knows about, and they sign it in themselves and then send it in. She will be eventually indicted for that crime. The second part that comes in very easily is a guy named Cory Booker, the Democratic senator from New Jersey. And this happened to my family. He made a personal call to my wife and said to her, listen, I want you to vote by ballot, not in person, but by ballot in New Jersey, and I want you to vote for Biden and for Harris. The problem with that phone call is that my wife hasn't been in New Jersey in over 20 years. And honestly, she has been voting Republican in the north central part of Florida. But this is not unusual. Harvesting ballots and illegal fraud, ballot fraud, goes back to our constitutional days when John Jay was implicated in 1796 for irregularities, and then in the Civil War in 1877, 1878, the Republican Hayes lost the popular election to Tilden. In return, however, Hayes was made the President of the United States in 1878 with an agreement that he would withdraw the northern troops from the south and he would eliminate Reconstruction. 1948, LBJ was implicated for fraud in his first election as a school teacher and as a congressman. Then we get to 1960s, where we have the problem of John F. Kennedy, who I've told you had Addison's disease and was totally inept and non-competent to run for presidency, but he invoked, along with his father, Joe Kennedy, the aid of the mafia, particularly Sam Giancana and Luciano and Meyer Lansky. So he came in that way. Then we had a very unusual vote in 2000 with Bush Jr. and Gore. Now, I happen to have been involved indirectly with that election. I knew from personal incidences and personal relationships that Gore was a far smarter man than Bush. However, it turned out that the election was contested in Florida. Surprise, in 2000, Jeb Bush, the younger brother of Bush Jr., was involved, and then it went to the Florida Supreme Court, where Bush was represented by my old friend James Baker, and the Democrats were represented by my old friend Warren Christopher. Eventually, an agreement was made. My suspicion is that Gore was paid millions of dollars to concede the election, and Bush Jr. won by 0.0009. That's 3 zeros. So let's get to the present times. Why do we have a ballot, and why do we have an electoral college? When the founding fathers created the Constitution, they did not want a democracy. I've said that before. A democracy would have meant one person, one vote. Instead, they wanted a federal constitution. So they decided that the electoral college would be based on the population of each state, and it would be based on the census of 2010. So when you vote, you're not voting for the president, you're really voting for someone who's going to represent you as an elector in the electoral college. A famous president said the following: when you vote, it's like shooting with a rifle, and you shoot at the master. That's Teddy Roosevelt. Marcuse, a neo-Marxist, said, when you vote for the master, you neither get rid of the master, but you maintain the slavery. On that note, good night and good luck.